You are in a conversation with someone and they cross their arms. Immediately, you think they are closed off, defensive, maybe even hostile toward you. You adjust your approach based on this interpretation. But here is what you do not know: they crossed their arms because the room is cold. Or someone avoids eye contact during your presentation. You assume they are disinterested or lying about their engagement. The reality? They have a cultural background where direct eye contact with authority figures is considered disrespectful. Or they are neurodivergent and eye contact creates genuine cognitive discomfort. Body language interpretation has become a minefield of confident assumptions built on shaky foundations. And these misinterpretations damage relationships, create false judgments, and lead to profoundly wrong conclusions about what people actually think and feel. I am going to show you what decades of psychological research actually reveals about body language, which popular beliefs are completely wrong, and why the real science is far more complex and far more interesting than the myths you have been taught. This is not about reading people better. This is about understanding why reading people is harder than you think. Think about a time you judged someone based on their body language. Were you certain about your interpretation? Keep that certainty in mind as we continue. In 2015, a comprehensive meta-analysis by Dr. Leanne Ten-Brinke at the University of California, Berkeley examined over 200 studies on body language interpretation accuracy. The findings demolished popular assumptions. Professional body language experts, FBI interrogators, police detectives, and therapists performed only marginally better than chance when trying to detect deception, emotion, or intention from nonverbal cues alone. Their accuracy rate? Approximately 54%. Only 4% better than random guessing. But here is what shocked researchers most: these professionals were far more confident in their incorrect interpretations than untrained individuals. They had learned systems for reading body language that gave them false certainty about conclusions that were frequently wrong. Dr. Paul Ekman, whose research on facial expressions inspired the television show Lie to Me, has spent the last decade warning people that his work has been dangerously oversimplified. Context, culture, individual differences, and baseline behavior matter more than any single gesture or expression. Yet popular books and courses continue teaching body language as if it were a universal code anyone can crack with the right training. The truth is far more nuanced. And understanding that nuance protects you from damaging misinterpretations. Source: Dr. Leanne Ten-Brinke, UC Berkeley, Body Language Meta-Analysis. Dr. Paul Ekman, Facial Expression Research. Links in description. Myth 1: Crossed arms mean defensiveness or hostility. The myth: popular body language advice claims that crossed arms signal closed-off attitude, defensiveness, disagreement, or emotional barriers. Uncross your arms to appear more open and approachable, the advice goes. The reality: Dr. Barbara Pisa's research analyzing over 15,000 instances of arm crossing revealed that this gesture has at least 12 common meanings depending on context, none of which can be determined by the gesture alone. People cross their arms when cold, when lacking arm rests, when their clothing has no pockets, when self-soothing during stress, when thinking deeply, when comfortable and relaxed, or simply out of habit. In many cultures, crossed arms indicate respect and attention during listening, the exact opposite of the Western interpretation of closedness. The research evidence, a 2016 study by Drive Susan Weinschenk tracked arm crossing in therapy sessions. She found zero correlation between crossed arms and client resistance to therapeutic suggestions. However, she found a 92% correlation between crossed arms and room temperature below 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Why this myth persists: confirmation bias. When you believe crossed arms mean defensiveness, you notice the times this seems true and ignore the countless times people cross their arms for completely benign reasons. Your brain creates a pattern from selective attention, not from actual correlation. The danger: you misread temperature regulation or comfort seeking as hostility. You change your approach based on false information. You create relationship tension from misinterpretation. The person never knows why you suddenly became cautious or defensive with them. The myth: liars avoid eye contact. People who look away during conversation are hiding something, feeling guilty, or not engaged with you. Maintain strong eye contact to show confidence and honesty. The reality: Dr. Samantha Mann's research at the University of Portsmouth studying actual deception found that liars often maintain more eye contact than truth tellers, not less. Why? Because they know the cultural belief that liars avoid eye contact, so they deliberately overcorrect. The research evidence: eye contact patterns vary enormously based on multiple factors that have nothing to do with deception. Cultural variation: in many Asian, African, and indigenous cultures, direct eye contact with authority figures, elders, or during serious conversations is considered aggressive or disrespectful. Looking slightly away signals respect and attention, not avoidance. Neurodivergence: for many autistic individuals, direct eye contact creates genuine cognitive overload. They process conversations better when not making eye contact. Their avoidance of eye contact indicates nothing about honesty or engagement, it indicates sensory processing differences. Cognitive load: when people are thinking deeply, solving problems, or accessing memory, they naturally look away to reduce visual input that competes with internal processing. Students looking away during complex questions are often more engaged, not less. Individual baseline: some people naturally maintain less eye contact even when completely comfortable and honest. Their normal pattern means nothing about their current truthfulness. Why this myth persists: Western cultural bias has been globalized through media. The belief gets reinforced because when we suspect someone of lying, we scrutinize their eye contact, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of suspicion. The danger: you falsely accuse honest people based on cultural differences or neurodivergence. You trust skilled liars who maintain manipulative eye contact. You make hiring, legal, and relationship decisions based on irrelevant information. You create hostile environments for people whose natural eye contact patterns differ from the narrow Western norm. The myth: if you subtly mirror someone's posture, gestures, and movements, you will automatically build rapport and trust. This is presented as a foolproof influence technique. The reality: Dr. Tanya Chartrand's original research on the chameleon effect showed that unconscious, natural mirroring correlates with rapport. But conscious, deliberate mirroring often backfires. The research evidence: a 2014 study by Drive William Maddox found that when people detected deliberate mirroring, they rated the mirror as manipulative, creepy, and untrustworthy. The technique works only when completely natural and unconscious. The moment it becomes a technique, it becomes detectable and damages trust rather than building it. Furthermore, context matters enormously. Mirroring aggressive body language during conflict escalates tension. Mirroring defensive posture makes both parties more defensive. Mirroring works only in positive contexts when both parties already feel safe. Why this myth persists: the original research was misinterpreted by sales and influence courses. Natural mirroring that happens during genuine connection was packaged as a technique anyone can use deliberately. The nuance was lost in translation from research to popular advice. The danger: you come across as manipulative when people detect your deliberate mirroring. You focus on technique rather than genuine connection. You believe you are building rapport when you are actually triggering suspicion. Pause. How many of these myths have you believed and acted on? This recognition matters because it shifts from false certainty to appropriate humility. Here is what research actually supports for accurate body language interpretation. The 3-step context-based approach. Step 1. Establish individual baseline. Before interpreting any gesture or expression, observe the person's normal patterns in neutral situations. How much eye contact do they typically maintain? What is their resting posture? How animated are their gestures usually? Dr. Joe Navarro, former FBI agent and body language researcher, emphasizes that deviation from baseline is the only meaningful signal. If someone who normally maintains strong eye contact suddenly avoids it, that is worth noting. If someone naturally avoids eye contact, their consistency means nothing. You cannot interpret body language without baseline. Every gesture must be measured against that individual's normal patterns, not against population averages or cultural assumptions. Step 2. Consider context and culture. The same gesture means different things in different contexts. Arms crossed during a difficult conversation could signal defensiveness. Arms crossed while listening to a lecture could signal engagement. Arms crossed in a cold room could signal temperature regulation. Cultural competence is non-negotiable. Research by Dr. David Matsumoto on cross-cultural expression shows that most body language interpretation systems are built on Western, educated, industrialized, rich, democratic, weird, population norms that do not apply globally. Before interpreting, ask, what is the cultural context? What is the physical environment? What is the social situation? What norms apply here that might differ from my assumptions? Step 3. Seek verbal confirmation. The most accurate way to understand what someone thinks or feels is to ask them directly. Body language should inform questions, not replace them. Instead of assuming crossed arms mean disagreement, try, I want to make sure I am understanding your perspective. How are you feeling about what we have discussed so far? Instead of assuming lack of eye contact means disengagement, try, I notice you are looking away while thinking. Does that help you process, or would you prefer I present this information differently? Direct communication eliminates the guesswork. It shows respect for the other person's actual experience rather than your interpretation of their nonverbal signals. Why this works: this framework addresses the actual complexity of body language. You are not claiming to read minds. You are gathering information, considering context, and confirming through communication. You maintain appropriate humility about the limits of nonverbal interpretation. The deepest truth about body language is this: it provides clues, not conclusions. It raises questions, not answers. It suggests possibilities, not certainties. The most dangerous thing you can do is believe you can accurately read people through their nonverbal behavior alone. That false confidence leads to misjudgments, damaged relationships, and profound misunderstandings of what people actually think and feel. The wisest approach is curiosity combined with humility. Notice body language. Consider multiple possible meanings. Recognize your own cultural biases and assumptions. Then communicate directly to confirm or correct your interpretations. Remember that moment you thought about at the beginning when you judged someone based on their body language. How certain were you? What if your interpretation was completely wrong? How might that relationship or interaction have gone differently if you had asked instead of assumed? Body language literacy is not about reading people better. It is about understanding how easy it is to read them wrong. It is about recognizing the vast space between gesture and meaning that context, culture, individuality, and situation fill with possibilities you cannot determine through observation alone. If this framework shifted how you think about body language interpretation, share it. Comment which myth you believed most strongly. And remember, people are not code to be cracked. They are individuals with complex internal experiences that their bodies express imperfectly and ambiguously. The goal is not better mind reading. The goal is better communication where you honor that their truth belongs to them, and the respectful way to access it is to ask, not to assume. That is not ignorance. That is wisdom. That is what research actually reveals about the beautiful, frustrating, irreducible complexity of human communication.